What's up everyone, it's Sammy or Alpine F55 and today we're going to be installing a CIC Carplay kit on my buddy's 335. So before doing anything, the first thing you need to do is remove the battery negative terminal. So take off this cover right here by turning the knob and pulling the cover. And after that you'll see the battery down here, and all you'll need is a 10mm socket to take off the battery terminal. So I'm going to grab my impact here, take it off real quick. And then just pull it off. You gotta wiggle it a little bit and then just set it on the bar right here and you're good to go. Alright, so to do the install, what we're gonna need to do first is remove the dash trim right here, and afterwards we're gonna need to remove this iDrive trim right here, this entire thing with the shifter and all that, the pillar right there, along with the side panel. So let's go ahead and start by doing this dash trim. Alright, so you pretty much just need to pry it off from the side right here, and then after that you can just pretty much pull it all along. A trim tool does help a ton with this, but it's not absolutely necessary. So now that it's off, what we're gonna need to do is actually disconnect the panel that holds in the emergency button right there. Now that your dash trim is out, what you're gonna need to do is just go ahead and push out your emergency button right here. And then if you push the dash in a little bit, you'll be able to pull it out and disconnect the wires from the back. Alright, now you just need to pull the two wires out of the back. And then the next step is to disconnect the power button right here, which if you pull it out, it's going to have a connector on the back which you can just squeeze and pull right off. Alright, and it's that simple. Now you can put this trim to the side. The next step is to pull the AC trim off, which it's just clicked in. It doesn't really have any screws, so you can just pull that right off. Now just disconnect the two wires on the back. You just need to press down the little pin and the arm will pull down and the wire should come right out the back. Now repeat the same exact thing for the wire next to it. Alright, and the wire will pull right out. Now your next step is to remove the actual head unit trim right here, which pulls right off. You just need to be careful not to snap anything around it. Alright, so now the next step is going to be to remove the actual CIC unit itself, which has 4 Phillips screws. There's one here, then on this side the same thing, one here and one here. So the next step is to just pull the CIC unit out towards you, and be sure to have some type of towel or something right below so that you can protect everything on your trim. Now that the unit is out, you can see that there's all these wires behind here. You just need to disconnect every single one of them and the unit will be free to take out. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now and we'll come right back. But when disconnecting the wires, you're gonna see that some of them have these little things on the end of them, these little tabs. You need to press it down and the wire will pull straight out. You need to make sure you pull the wire straight out or else it will not come right off. And then also these other ones right here, these, you press that in right there and it will come straight out as well. But once again, these only come out straight. You can't try pulling it to the side or anything. It will not come out. Alright, so when opening the box, you're going to see that you first have the MMI box itself, and then you will have the big harness that connects to the factory harness. You'll also have the lvds video cables, the accessory cable, the mic harness, and then mine came with this extra little piece right here. I'm not too sure what it's for, but if we do end up needing it, we'll see what it is. And then there's also the Carplay antenna itself. So let's go ahead and get to installing everything, and we'll see how it works. The first thing we're going to install is the microphone harness. So what we need to do is remove the driver's side visor, and then after that, you're going to need to remove the pillar itself right here, which to do that, you just take off the little airbag thing right here, and there will be a screw right behind it. Now you just need to remove the cover for the airbag right here. It will be a little bit tough, but once you do get it removed, it'll come right off. And then under there is just a T20, and once you remove the T20, the whole entire column will come right off. Alright, you also need to remove the little plate in there, and once taken out, the entire column will just come right off. But when taking the column off, you need to be careful because there is a little pin that's on the inside, and you don't want that to fall into your interior because you will never be able to get it again. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna slowly go along the weather strip right here. And then he'll be able to reveal the inside to take that pin off. All right, so the trim actually has the pin still in it, so we're good to go. And now that it's off, you just gotta start doing the wiring itself. All right, so now that the trim is off, what we need to do is remove the visor. So to remove the visor, it's going to be 2 T20 screws right up there. And then you're gonna need to lift this little panel right here and it will reveal another T20. To lift the panel, just use any type of pick tool. You can go ahead and pull it right out. And it will reveal the screw right there to go ahead and take out, which it's just another T20. All right, now to get to the last screw, you just need to turn the visor off. And it will come right out. Then once you pull the visor down, you'll see the power cord right here. You just need to disconnect the power cord for the light, which you can just pull the cord right out and put the visor to the side. And just to make sure you don't lose any screws, you can just put them right back into place and then remove them back out later when you need to put the visor back. To help us out a little bit more with pulling the headliner down, we're going to take off this little part as well. This is just the holder for the passenger side visor. So we just took off the little panel flap right here, and now we're going to remove the single T20. With the headliner pulled down, now you can just push out the entire assembly, which you can go from one side to another, and there's going to be a pin right about here and right about here. Alright, so now when it's pulled down, you need to just remove the microphone wire, which is going to be the one plugged in right here. Alright, so now with the wire disconnected, what we're going to have to do is connect our new mic harness right here, and then we'll need to run this harness all the way down through here, through the headliner, down behind the airbag, and then to the side panel on the side here, and it's going to go under, and we're going to run it all the way into here to plug into the MMI unit. So we're going to go ahead and do that now, and I'm going to have some quick clips going through the steps of like how we're doing it. Alright, now that the wires are plugged in up here, we have it plugged back into the microphone. We're going to go ahead and just run it through the headliner. I'm going to stuff it up in the headliner. And then after that, we're going to bring it down over here, but make sure you go behind the airbag. And that's an important thing. You need to make sure you go behind this airbag because, you know, if it deploys and there's a wire in front of it, you're going to get a wire smacking you in the face, and that's not going to feel good. Alright, so now the next step is you're going to want to remove this side panel right here. And all you need to do is use a trim tool, and it should come right off with a little bit of effort. So what my buddy did was he hooked up a zip tie to the wire right here, and now he's just going to feed the zip tie down this little trim right here. And then you'll be able to pull it from the bottom. With the wire through, you can just run it along the trim right here. And then eventually you'll be able to feed it up to the area where we're installing the MMI. So now we're pulling it through. And there you go. The mic wire is now pulled through all the way and can be connected to the rest of the harnesses. Alright, so what we're going to do next, now that we have the wire for the mic ran through, is we're going to hook up the actual harness. So the thing that you're going to need to do is to remove this little optical cable from the stock harness right here, and we're going to move it to our new harness. So to do that, it's a single little pin right there. You just got to lift that up and it will pull right out. You just pull the wire right out, and then this side will plug into this side, and the optical cable will go into this side, right in here. We're gonna actually take out this cage right here that holds in the entire head unit, and the reason we're gonna do this is just to be able to get the wires tucked back in this corner and be able to have everything, you know, organized back there. So to do that, it's gonna be one screw right up here, one screw right here, same thing on the opposite side, one screw right here, one screw right here. And then at the bottom, there's these two 8mm security screws. So you're gonna need to take these two out right here. And then after that, you'll be able to pull this entire cage out right towards you. We just pulled the entire cage out right here, and we were able to get the wire tucked up back here. So this is the actual quad lock harness, and it's nice and tucked back there. All right, so now that we've gotten everything wired up in there, we're gonna get everything out of the way right here, and it's time to take this trim off. So the first thing you do is you pretty much just take off the trim around the shifter, pull it all the way up, and then you go ahead and just lift up right here with your trim tool. And eventually the trim will snap out of place. Alright, now the next steps are to remove the wires below here. After that, you should be able to just pull this up and it will be free. Alright, now our next step is going to be to run. The iDrive harness has two different sides to it, so there's two different types of iDrive controllers you could have with a CIC unit, but the one we're going to be using is the smaller connector right here. So what you're going to do is plug your factory cable into this side of the harness, which you can plug that in for me please. Alright, and then our next step is we're actually going to run this cable right here, and what we're going to do, the way we're going to run it, is we need to run it down here past this trim to the side right here, and then we're going to use a zip tie. We're actually going to push a zip tie down from here and then pull it back up, loop it around the side to in here so that we can connect it to the harness. Alright, now he's pressed the zip tie through to me over here, and the wire can be pulled through. So let's go ahead and just give it a bit of a pull, and be sure to give it enough room so that it connects to the iDrive controller right about here. We actually just plugged the OEM harness right into the iDrive controller, and then right here we had to change the configuration of the harness. So what we had to do was connect the head unit can to the L-sharp CarPlay can. So we're going to connect B-sharp to L-sharp, and that's because we have a DVD car. So if you check right here, there's actually a diagram that shows you for each car, and I went ahead and tested each one out. We had no luck with these two, and eventually I went this route, and it ended up working. You do not have to use the harness if you have a DVD player car, so just keep note of that. But otherwise, just be sure to follow this little guide. So now that this wire is connected, let's go ahead and run the aux cable. We're pretty much just going to do the opposite. The aux cable is going to go through there, and then we're going to enter it right around here, and then run it into here, and then behind the shifter right here, there's this little vent. We're going to take the vent off, and then it's going to be able to plug into the aux port. So I was able to push our aux cable through this hole right here, and then we were able to pull it out through here. So the next step, what we're going to do now is just run it up into this trim right here, and then eventually we'll be able to grab it in here and pull it through here. So we decided, instead of running it through the little vent right here, we're actually just going to push it right through there, and then the wire pull right through, and it plugs right into the aux.
Probably cleaner too.
Alright, so with the aux ran and with the iDrive plug ran right here, we can go ahead and start installing the MMI box. So what we're going to need to do is just organize all the wiring, get everything set in place to where you'd like it to be, then start plugging it into the box. I'm going to go ahead and get the box plugged in and show you guys what everything should look like, and then we're going to start installing the CIC unit back in place. Alright, so this is the cable we're going to be using to plug in the screen to the head unit. So what we're going to need to do is, this is the original cable from the screen. This is going to plug into your LVDS out, and then this harness right here, you're going to plug into the MMI unit, and this will go over to your CIC. So this is the side you're going to want to plug in to the MMI, and then this side will plug into the back of the CIC. One thing that we realized when installing the MMI unit was that the harness was needed because of the fact that this cable has an angle to it. So go ahead and hook up the harness for the LVDS and everything will go in place. Alright, so now we have LVDS in, which is going to be our cable plugging into the head unit. LVDS out, which is the one that's going to the screen. Antenna, which is the CarPlay antenna. And CAN power, which is the one that's plugged in to the big harness over there. And we also have this cable right here, which is our accessory harness. And this isn't necessary at all, but you can plug it in if you'd like to update this MMI unit, because there are updates available to download online, but it's not necessary. The next step is to put everything back together. So what we're gonna do is just go ahead and organize all of our wires right here, push the CarPlay unit into there, and then go ahead and put the trim back on and test everything out. You're also going to need to set the dip switches on the MMI box. So here's a little guide of how to set those dip switches. It shows you the different screens and different types of cars. So whatever you have, go ahead and set it accordingly and you'll be good to go. So now we have everything tucked back here. Everything's wired up and ready to go. What we're going to do is we're just going to put all the trim pieces back on, plug the iDrive controller back in. Then it's the moment of truth. We're going to give it a shot and see if everything's working properly. And so now you're going to want to go to external devices. Go ahead and set it to aux, and after that, hold down the menu button, and it should swap you over. Now everything's working, and the next step is to connect your phone. So now we're in the menu right here, and the next step is to set up your phone. I'm gonna go ahead and just include a clip from another video that I've made regarding this step, and it'll teach you how to do that, and then we'll skip to the CarPlay. Once you get to settings, go ahead and click OK, and then go to wireless devices. Click OK, and scroll down to paired devices. If you see any paired devices, what you're going to do is go to the right and then click the little X, and then you'll be able to delete them. So I'm going to go back now. And the next step, what you need to do is on your iPhone, enable both Wi-Fi and enable Bluetooth. And make sure that your phone does not connect to your car. Forget the Bluetooth for your car, and then go ahead and click wireless pairing and start search. Once you click start search on your iPhone, you need to find the CarPlay Bluetooth network and connect to it. Once connected to that, it should automatically put you into the CarPlay menu. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so now we're connected to the device, we're in CarPlay, and as you can see, Spotify is working properly, and everything else works properly. Overall, that's how to install the CIC CarPlay unit. If you have any questions about something that I maybe didn't cover, you can hit me up on Instagram, or you can comment down below. Be sure to go to 6elemento.com to get yourself a CIC CarPlay unit and use the promo code SAMMYCarPlayCIC. I think it gets you about 15 to 20% off. It's a little bit of a hookup from them. So yeah, shout out to them, and also shout out to my buddy N54 Perv. Be sure to go follow him on Instagram. He just made his Instagram page for his car, and his car is sick as fuck. That thing's got some power to it. Gotta love that N54, and it sounds amazing. So yeah, be sure to go check out his page, and also check out 6 Elemento. They have an Instagram page as well. And thank you for watching. Take care.